Welcome to another 5-minute video. Thank you for coming. And today we're going to talk about chalkware. Chalkware fish bowls to be exact. So what is chalkware? Well, chalkware is plaster of Paris, so it's not porcelain. So in other words, it's usually almost every time solid. Very few chalkware is hollow. It's usually solid. They don't put it in an oven and glaze it, or do like porcelain. Like this is porcelain. You could see it's shiny. You could see the paint's very nice. You could see there's paint underneath a glaze, and it's usually always hollow because they actually manufacture it in a pocket mold. It's a 2-part mold that they do. So that's porcelain. Chalkware is kind of like poor man's porcelain is what it is. It came about in the, late 1700s, 1760 actually onwards, and it ended at about 1960s is when pretty much chalkware started to go away. Fishbowl chalkware started about 1930s and ended about maybe 60s, could have gone into the 70s, but I think mostly in the 60s. There's a couple different types. These two right here are called Carnival Chalkware. So these would have been ones that when you went to a carnival like in the 30s or possibly 40s, you would actually do a contest and you would win one of these. These are the very low-end kitsch, very comical kind of chalkware that people love. These don't go for a lot of money. I see them on eBay quite a bit, and usually they're around $20 to $30. These are actually really nice pieces. Then you get into the more high-end chalkware like the Bathing Beauty girls. You know, these are ones made by well-known statuary companies. Like this was from Columbia Statuary, is the one who made this particular piece right here. And these will go for like $300 or $400 on up, just depends. In fact, there's lamp ones made by very famous statuary companies that go for $800, $1,200. You know, they go for quite a bit of money. Now, if you ever see a number on chalkware, I just want to tell you the numbers mean two different things. This one has a number 404. And this normally, if it's made in the United States, that is the mold number. So in other words, it's not the date. Don't ever think if there's 4 numbers that's when it was made. Like if it says 1865, it was made then. No, that's the mold number. If it's in Europe, that's actually the registration number for the company. So that's the difference between made in Europe and made in the United States. They did make chalkware in Europe. They made it all over Europe. So that's the difference in the mold numbers. As you could see, you know, something like this with the Oriental headdress, this will be a very expensive piece because you just don't find these in the Oriental outfit like that. What I love about chalkware is it's kind of a low-end, fun fishbowl type thing. And most of the X, Y, and I generation people today, they have mid-century modern houses. They have like furniture that's very minimalist, very straight-lined. And when you add a piece of chalkware, you add whimsy to that. You really kind of add a little bit of a train wreck to your organization, which is fun. So I highly recommend that if you run into chalkware, to pick it up because it's a blast. Now, one other thing I want to tell you about chalkware is this. It's cute, a little boy and girl. It's a real cute one. In 1900 to 1910, Johann Maresch made terracotta. So this is actually fired in a kiln. This is terracotta, made by Johann Maresch. Now actually, Johann Maresch, which is the name of the firm, that was the father, and he actually died. His son took over the firm, and between 1900 and 1910, he made a series of fishbowl holders. This is one of the smaller ones. He made some really big ones as well, all made of terracotta, which is pretty much unglazed porcelain is what that is. And you could see at the bottom, you could see that basically it's hollow, unlike chalkware, which would be solid. And it says JM on here, which stands for the actual artist. It has the registration number for the company, has their little imprint on side of it. So this is Johann Maresch, and you could see what happened. An American company decided they would knock him off. And this is probably made around 1930. They wanted to make a low-end one because, again, this was made in Austria. where Johann Maresch was located and expensive as an import. So this was your chalkware, your low-end piece. You could see it's solid. You could see the chalk shining through there. And you could see a very rare Egyptian fishbowl. This is an original fishbowl. And I've seen pictures of this in the catalog, the chalkware one, and this is the bowl that it came with. And I've only seen like 2 of these little small Egyptian ones. Normally they're bigger size. But that actually was the bowl that this piece came from, or came with. And so there you see, you've got the knockoff chalkware, and then you've got the original Johann Maresch. All right, it's actually pretty cool to see that we've got the 2 side by side. You can also see that when they painted these, like this is beautifully painted, and then there's no glaze on it. Again, it's unglazed. But this one they airbrushed. I can never get an artist to do airbrush. They think it's cheating, so they never want to do it. But that's how you can really tell if you have the original paint. I mean, even her little red dress, which is faded, is airbrushed. This is all airbrushed down here. It's not painted with a brush, it's airbrushed, so it's, you know, the little tool that they use. So that, my friends, is chalkware, which has a primitive folk art quality. Carnival chalk we talked about. Mid-century modern. This is really whimsy for mid-century modern houses. Some of the companies that made it: United Statuary, Continental Art Company, Abco, Miller Studios, Reglor, Wallis Lamp Company, and FAIP is and those are some of the companies that manufacture chalkware. All right, that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, and I'll see you again next week.